Good morning. Happy Sunday. It's an absolutely gorgeous day in the Napa Valley. I'm visiting my mom. I'll be going to Italy in about 2.5 weeks, and so that's going to be incredible. My favorite place is CC, plus I'll travel around from there, but that'll be my base. I feel really connected there. I feel like I've lived there before, and yeah, I'm really ready for a reboot, and that's what it felt like. For 2-3 months, that's where I'll be, and I will do some, brief, maybe Zoom meetings, YouTube meetings from there. Anyway, tomorrow's April 1st, so no jokes, please. Anyway, I used to be the master at April Fool's jokes, and I kind of let it go now. After my sister Katie passed away when she was 57. It just took the fun out of it because I got her every single year for a good 15, maybe 20 years. Even when she swore she was not going to let me get her that year, somehow I'd get her. I just totally catch her off guard. We have some pretty funny stories to share. And the last one was where she actually had a whole group of friends over, so she made sure that I did not get her. On April Fool's, and right before midnight, they all went home, and sometime maybe I'll tell you what I did. She was so mad at me. So I kind of thought maybe I shouldn't, tease like that. Anyway, so what I really came to do, really in all seriousness, is share my book, The Awakening Ones, and why this piece of work is so important to me. And it's really written as a novel, it's written as fiction, but that's not how the information came through. It came through from dreams for 18 years. And actually, no, it didn't take me 18 years to write the book. It just took 18 years to publish the book. Because in the beginning, I was just channeling all this information. I'd be woken up usually 3-something in the morning to 4:45, something around there. And I would just be compelled to sit up in the dark and start writing. And that's what I did, page after page after page of information that was given to me. And through the years, because I had 3 children and I went through 2 divorces, good at things like that. Life got in the way, my own businesses, everything got in the way. So I would put it down, and then there were so many characters in the book, and it was hard to just pick up because I would really have to have the time to energetically get into each character to remember the whole, it was the energetic source of that character. And so I would put it back down, but I really think it has to do with timing, because a lot of things that transpired through those times, I actually had to go back Christmas Eve, November 2017. I had to go back and change a whole bunch of events because there were different wars. There were different things happening. And one of my friends remarked that had been reading a lot of my rough drafts or manuscript through the years said, most of those things happened that you talked about in the book. And so basically I took all that out because that was old news, and replaced it with things that were happening now in the world so people could relate. Anyway, so the reason why this was so important to me, this work, is, I don't want in any way people to think I'm anti-Christ, anti anything to do with Jesus or God or Mary Magdalene or Mother Mary. It's so far from the truth. If anyone tries to paint it that way, he is my beloved teacher. He has come to me since I was in the, I was about 5 years old, those 2 ages when I was in catechism at the Catholic school. He told me what was true when I'd be really distressed, when I'd hear something, it didn't sound right. He was the one that told me to trust my intuition and that I had an incredible sense of inner knowing. I always felt I was his defender. Not that he asked me to do that, but in the Catholic school, we were part of a very wealthy parish, and so therefore we had monsignors come and talk to us little kiddos, and and the priests, but the monsignors were the scary ones. Anyway, when he came, I remember this one Monsignor, he would come and he would tell us these things. It wasn't ever open for discussion. I don't think anything in my Catholic school was. I know some people have had good experiences. That was not mine. You were told. You weren't taught to think. You weren't, to question or share. That was not part of the deal. So I remember being horribly shy as a child. I felt a lot, like I really was compassionate. I could feel other kids' feelings, and I would be crushed when I knew somebody hurt them or did something mean. I mean, I just like took all that energy on. But the one thing I didn't have any tolerance for, or fear, I should say, was when the Monsignor, the nuns, or the priests would speak up what I felt in my belief system or my inner knowing was lies about of Yeshua or Jesus. Mary Magdalene was a big one. I knew everything when I was a child, that she was never a sinner. She was not a prostitute. She was the beloved of Jesus and a very high master in her own right, that he intended for her to carry on the truth of his actual works. But the men of those times, they didn't like the idea of a woman having any kind of power, especially that kind of power. Women at that time were not even supposed to be able to read, and Jesus taught these women, many women disciples, how to read the Torah, and this was unheard of at that time. He was quite the heretic. He rebelled against, every system. Women as equals, humankind as equals, and his message was that we're all divine. And we are all aspects of the divine, and that we had equal the ability to achieve that which, what was the saying, these things are greater, and that we would be able to do. And I knew that to be true. He was a way shower, and he wanted very much for us to know the truth and not the guilt and the shame and all of the manipulations that came after his death. And that was the thing. He did not start the Catholic Church. He did not have a church. He believed in all humanity as equal, as I said, and he had more brother and sisterhood, and anyone could be a part of that. There was no judgment. There was no sin. And one of the dreams that he told me is sin was just, the word for sin was totally misinterpreted in the Lord's Prayer, and it only had to do with a right timing. So if, for example, if you go to pull a piece of fruit off a tree and it's too early, it doesn't have all the nutrition and it's not as flavorful. If you wait too long, it falls on the ground and rots. And that's okay too, because it recycles, right? But if you wait for right timing, then it's perfect. It comes off easily. It's nutritious and delicious. And so that's what he was trying to teach. That's what he conveyed to me in life, that everything was about right timing. And so just to understand that at a deeper level, not trying to push, not trying to wait too long, procrastinate too long, whatever it was. So, but his main teachings were about love, forgiveness, compassion, and just those things alone. If humanity could just do those simple commandments or teachings, we would have a very, very different world today. Matter of fact, if Mary Magdalene, as the truly educated divine being that she was, had been the head of the church, it would be a very different world today. So right now it's not anti-male or anti-female or any of that. It's about the integration of the divine feminine and the divine masculine in each one of us. So these are all pointers, to where we need to balance within ourselves the masculine or the feminine aspects, to come into that completely aligned space, because right now we are trying to clear the pineal gland, and it's been really jeopardized by chlorine and fluoride and things in our water, aluminum and all these preservatives, and people even say there's placenta, all this stuff that are in vaccines, and this is my belief. Everybody has to do their own research, but I think the 1% wants us to be dumbed down. That if our pineal gland is coated over and so dense, we don't have that connection to the divine, who we really are, that we do when that is clear. And that's why meditation is so important. For me, it's about clearing that pineal gland. It's about, just simple breathing techniques. A lot of people have all different types of techniques, but the one that works for me is really, getting into stillness. I use a cross-legged yogi position, but pulling that energy in and, running through all the chakras into the earth, deep into the earth, and circling back up and, coming through the crown. So these are the things that can help offset some of it. Is it scary that we're going into 5G? Absolutely. It's even more reason to eat clean and think clean, and because anything that's negative turns to is acidic, so that like feeds cancer, feeds disease. Now everything I'm saying is from my lifetime of research, of intuitive knowing. So do your own, of course. I've been on the planet almost 65 years. So I have a thing where I was just told one time, probably 20 years ago, I picked up a chicken in the grocery store, and all of a sudden I looked at it and put it back on the back in the refrigerator compartment and never touched it again. Everybody's going to have their own promptings. No one is right. I'm just asking you to really listen. And with that, I found that people would say, it's interesting when we go out with you somewhere in the forest or something, the animals come to you. And I think this is my own belief, is because I didn't carry the vibration of death from animal. And animals, we have lost sensitivity to our own intuitive knowing, many of us. And so it's kind of like when you're walking down the street and a really dark energy is coming towards you and you automatically know you've got to cross the street. But with somebody that's really dense and dark themselves, they don't even realize that. So they're going to run into that negative being or something. So animals, of course, I believe are much more intuitive. And so therefore, for me, that is just not, I can't eat any kind of meat or poultry or anything like that. It just isn't correct for me. And yes, there's a lot of other things you can eat. You can research that. Avocado, raw sunflower seeds that haven't been salted and changed and all that. High protein. There's so many things. Anyway, enough of that. I want to get back to my book, The Awakening Ones. And I do hope you'll support me with this. This was a really intense journey for me, and even pulling out 300 of the original pages, because it was too much that could be looked at as I'm trying to say everything is factual, because that's how it came through to me. I needed to change it into a novel, more of a fiction with characters that people could relate to. Many of the experiences in these characters, people will say to me, oh, you're this person, or oh, you're that person, as they go on and go, oh, you're that person too. There's definitely stories of my life woven through this, and experiences that I actually have had through life. So it's just a teaching thing. I came to teach, and therefore that's what I want to do, or more pass on information that I really feel is important for us to know. So as far as Yeshua or Jesus goes, just an incredible avatar. You can call, he could be your Lord, he could be whatever you wanted him to be, but he was one of the three avatars that came to try to help humanity, and were either killed or totally dismissed. So I hope you really enjoy my book. I hope you realize that everything was written with great intention. And there's some parts that may look like I'm criticizing, say, the pharmaceutical companies or the this or the that or religion. Their characters and their feelings and their things I have felt deeply. And yes, as we evolve and as we get into that real state of oneness with all things, it's harder and harder to put blame anywhere. But I wrote this from my heart, and I just really, really hope you enjoy it. Yeah, and I hope it has meaning for you. I've had some people, and if you would do this for me, it's really important. It helps me, like, what are people interested? What are they not interested in? But people have, I have some emails here that people have highlighted quotes and things that were really important to them throughout the book. And then they sent me copies. And why this is important is because we are in the midst of a great awakening. No, a great awakening. And so this kind of told me people were ready as I'm looking at all these emails people sent me that I copied off. And it's finally ready for full disclosure. And I think that's why, as much as I've always been anti-Trump, because actually he just creeped me out. He's just creepy to me. Okay. But I also have to say, I do believe there's some things that he's doing to shake up government that we have never seen before. And I'm not talking about the hate groups that love to join in on a cause, any cause, even if it's a peace rally. I noticed many, many years ago on a peace rally, you get these people that just wanted to act out, that just wanted to vent their own anger and frustration. But there's certain levels, if you follow Q or not, there's things that are happening. There is a big shaking up. There's a big awakening on the deep space program. There's, this information about Jesus, Yeshua, what he was really trying to show us in life, who Mary Magdalene really was, and what we can learn from her life and her 7 chakras and the 7 deadly sins. I was told were definitely not the derogatory that was tried to put upon it, but the awakening of the 7 chakras and being cleared of that. So, yes, there's an urgency right now. And I hope you enjoyed my book. Thank you, and have a really blessed day. And don't let anybody trick you tomorrow on April Fool's Day. Take care.